Hey, hello everybody. Hi, my name is Darius Anucauskas and I'm the global market analyst here at Markets.com. So, look, I wanted to share with you this quick video basically on what's happening right now with the crypto world and the top cryptos at this point. Look, because yesterday we had the US CPIs, we had a bit of a surprise, so I'm quite happy with that, to be honest, because it kind of worked out nicely the way I was planning. But hey, not getting way too smug about myself, of course. But look, before we jump into all that action, let me have a read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, but yes, if you are not aware what happened yesterday we got the US CPIs and everybody was anticipating that because that was kind of the top moment probably on the economic calendar this week. And the numbers came out on the slightly higher side. Well, I'll jump into that just a moment. Also, just very quickly before I jump into all that as well, just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. And you can, like I said, feel free to browse. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, very quickly towards the numbers. Now, yesterday, we got the core and the headline inflation number. So the headline inflation number came out at 3%, higher than the forecast and higher than the previous, which basically were the same number. Core inflation year on year came out higher as well, 3.3 against the forecast of 3.1. So basically, everything was on the higher side. I was saying in one of my videos, which by the way, you can check out on YouTube here on our channel. And I had a piece that I threw out on this US CPIs. So I was I would say I was kind of getting that feeling. Don't get me wrong, that feeling was totally unjustified or whatever. It was just something random, like guess in a way, So, when it happens eventually at the end of the day, it comes out as you were kind of expecting it or feeling it, then it's very nice. You're very happy and proud and blah blah blah. But there was no kind of how to say it. I didn't have any, let's say, some sort of like strong justification towards that. So, but it came out higher. Fantastic. But what I was saying yesterday, that if it comes out higher, then yes, we could see a little bit of a boost in the market because again, a slightly higher inflation is good because it shows progress. It shows like economic activity. If it would be too high, for example, if it would be, let's say, at least something like 3.3 or something, then it would be a little bit of an issue for the Fed, and maybe the market actually could get spooked because this would push the Fed away further from cutting at all. But anyway, so at this point, what we're seeing here is, we saw the US dollar initially rallying. So before I jump into the cryptos, I need to pick up on the US dollar. We saw initially it rallying, but then it quickly stabilized because I think that everybody understood that the Fed is not really going away from cutting this year. Look, of course, the percentage for just having one cut by the end of this year increased because again, we have higher inflation. You don't need to go for those extra cuts. It seems like the economy is running well, but still, it didn't really put the Fed into the position where they say that, oh, we're actually not going to do any cuts. But still, the cutting issue remains for the US dollar. Yep, we're seeing, a nice little correction back down here. And currently we're flirting with that 107.50 zone, which I talked a lot about already in my previous videos, by the way, which you can always tune into and join. Because look, we do the live sessions. I do the live markets talk. You can check it out on YouTube, and we do these little recorded sessions as well. But now jumping into the crypto world, let's see what kind of reactions we got yesterday. So we got here on Bitcoin, it still is in this mode where we are oscillating around the 50-day EMA. And this is what I talked about in my morning markets talk video, because at the moment it seems like it's unclear what we want to do. So yes, great, we had a boost yesterday. I mean, initially we saw a drop, of course, because of the US dollar rallying, but then we saw a reversal back up, which is fine, but now you're seeing that we're drifting back down again. So basically we're oscillating around that 50-day EMA, which doesn't help neither the bulls nor the bears. So how I'm approaching this, so let's say for example from the technical perspective, first of all we can see that we are stuck in this box, this little range here, and we're also stuck below this little short-term downside resistance line, which is taken from the high of the 20th of January. Is this a bearish indication? In a way, yes. However, for me to get comfortable with, let's say, some sort of lower areas on this one, I need to really get this one out of the box first, because we can say that Bitcoin needs to think outside of the box. So we need to see a drop somewhere below this 90,000 zone to be a little bit more excited, I would say, with the downside, because at the same time we could fall below the 100-day EMA in there. And this is where, it could open the door towards that 200-day EMA, which is roughly around that 79,000 mark, or maybe even going a little bit lower. So look, at this point, I would say just don't rush. I mean, if I want to apply my beloved Fibonacci tool here, what we can see here right now is that we are flirting with that 23.6, which is absolutely fine. So if we clear the cycle, this 90,000 zone, the lower side of this range, is actually around that midpoint between the 23.6 and the 38.2. By the way, if somebody's not aware with the Fibonacci's, not only that the Fibonacci levels are important, but also the midpoints between those levels are also quite significant. So now we sometimes get like a little pause there, or maybe like it becomes like something like a key area as well to watch. So just for you to keep in mind. And then if we can get a clearance of that, first, of course, we're aiming for that 38.2, but if that gets cleared, the 50% retracement here is sitting nicely near that 200-day EMA. So basically all the stars are aligning perfectly for, let's say, this downside scenario, if, and I have to mention that if we do get a clearance below that 90,000 zone, and then yes, we will go from there. By the way, this Fibonacci is measured from this low, the lowest point of August of 2024, and we're measuring to the highest point of this year, the current highest point of this year. So that's what we are keeping an eye on here. So hey, if we can get all these moves, then yes, wonderful. I could consider, like I said, a move to the downside. But in terms of the upside, pretty straightforward. The psychological 100 level, that's what I need in order to go to the upside. So if we can get that clearance, if we can get that move above that downside line and the psychological 100,000 zone, I will start considering a possible move towards the current all-time high, or at least towards the upper side of this box, of this little range. Look, the upper side here is not really as clear as I would like it to be. So it's roughly somewhere around that 108 zone-ish. So yeah, we'll go from there. Very quickly, what's happening on Ethereum? Ethereum, look, I mean, I talked about this when I drew this upside line taken from the low of the 5th of August of 2024. It's a very tentative line, I would say. We only have kind of, I would say, 2 touches here. I mean, this is just, roughly a rough sketch. And I mean, we can draw it this way a little bit, so it's a little bit subjective. The one thing which I can say for sure is that we are currently kind of jumping around, like oscillating around that upside line. So in a way it becomes a little bit irrelevant. So if I'm looking at some lower levels at this point, probably my better option here could be just to keep an eye on the low of this week, near the 2,529 zone-ish, something like that. If we can get a nice clearance, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low for this week, and we could, go further south in a way. For the upside, I'm taking a very conservative approach here, and I'm waiting for that push above that psychological 3,000 zone. Ripple, let's have a look what's happening here. I mean, we're also oscillating around the 50-day EMA, so in a way, it's the same boring as Bitcoin. So, but at the same time, maybe at some point it will present itself with a nice opportunity. Look, maybe the nice opportunity to the upside, for example, could come on a break above this 2.78 zone-ish, something like that, 2.80. You can round it up if you want, but it's always the area around. It's never the level, it's always the area around that level. So yes, and for now, I mean, what can I say? I mean, look, for the downside, similar story. I need to see maybe it's like a drop below this low here, or actually the low maybe of this week, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the downside. Very quickly on Litecoin I do love, and I do really like Litecoin from the technical perspective. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's working out nicely. We found good resistance near this downside line taken from the high of the 5th of December. So in a way, there is a good chance we could see a pop. Because look, the more we test the trend line, of course, it still indicates in this case, the downtrend, but the more times we test, the greater the chance it could eventually break out. So let's see if we can test this downside line more and more. If we can finally get that breakout, yes, I'm going to go for that kind of area near the 150 zone. For the downside, pretty straightforward, I think, on this one as well. Similar story like with other cryptos. I would love to actually drop below the Monday of this week and then kind of go to the downside. But at this point, we're kind of further away from this. I'm not saying that this is, this breakout, let's say potential breakout, could happen this week. Maybe this is something for next week. So just, be careful. Maybe we need some more time to coil up here, like form something like a triangle pattern, and then maybe, do something about it. But at this point, like I said, it's quite interesting. But the downside scenario for me, I would prefer to wait for a drop, actually, to be instead of like keeping an eye on the level, keep your eyes on the 100-day EMA. If we can get a nice clearance of that one and we stay below it, I will consider a bit of a move to the downside. And also, very quick update on Dogecoin here. So Dogecoin, I talked about it, and we are in this nice little falling channel. We are still below the midpoint of this falling channel, which is kind of running from around the mid-December, something like that. Look, everybody was kind of hyped about, like, oh my God, it's gonna, Dogecoin is gonna explode when we will see, Elon Musk in there. We'll see, the Department of Government Efficiency like getting established, and this is all kind of going to be very positive for the Dogecoin. Well, so far I think the hype kind of faded away, and what we're seeing right now is just a typical slowdown, let's put it this way, a typical technical slowdown, and it's all good, it's all fine. But either way, there is still a good chance that this could drift lower. But for me personally, I would prefer to wait for a drop below the 200-day EMA here, and then kind of consider further declines. For the upside, pretty straightforward. I would like to see actually a push back above the 100-day EMA, which coincides nicely with the 100-day EMA, with the midpoint of this falling channel. And if we can get that clearance, hey, who knows? Maybe we could end up traveling towards the upper side of the falling channel. So yeah, let's keep an eye on down. And finally, Polkadot. That's what I wanted to pick up on here. Look, I'm examining this idea here for a while now. It's quite interesting. It seems like it could go higher, but we have a little bit of a few obstacles here on the way higher. If we can draw this, I mean, I would like to draw this downside line, but it's a little bit tentative. So maybe it actually needs to be drawn somewhere from here. But again, it all becomes very subjective. So let's say, are we drawing it this way, or maybe we're drawing it from here actually instead of that one. So like I said, it's all becoming a little bit subjective. Maybe this looks a little bit better. For me personally, at this point, what I'm looking at, I like this 4.88 zone. So we managed to stay above it. So if we can actually continue trading above that 4.88 zone, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside. But if we start falling back below it, maybe, we're not done with the downside scenario. So ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of it. That's all I wanted to share with you in terms of crypto. So this is just a quick update on what's happening right now in the crypto world after the US CPIs. So hey, hopefully you enjoyed this little quick session. Thank you very much for watching, listening. Tune in, subscribe, and follow us. And we do have also good ideas on trading views, so check us out there. But hey, look, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found this useful. And hey, keep an eye for more videos from me. And I think, yes, some of them are going to come out soon. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.